ECD electric Land Rover Range Rover Classic first drive, Electro Luxe. But before we start, please support us by pressing the like and subscribe buttons, so that we can continue to provide information about car and motorcycle news. Also turn on the bell button to get the latest updates. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you. The future of motoring may be electric, but that need not be exclusive of the past. Back in April, we rounded up a bunch of companies willing to convert your classic car to electric power, and here's another new one, East Coast Defender, e.c.d. The Kissimmee, Florida-based firm was founded by a trio of British blokes who grew up near the Solihull plant that has built Land Rovers since 1948. The company's core business is restomodding vintage Land Rover Series or Defender models, most often to include General Motors small block V8 power. The company will occasionally take on other models, and now it's branching out to offer an electric powertrain option, with its first such conversion being for 1969 to 1996 Range Rover Classics. e.c.d. teamed up with Electric Classic Cars of Newtown, west of Birmingham, or e.c.c., in the United Kingdom to develop the Tesla-based electric drivetrain. e.c.c. had electrified an earlier Range Rover using batteries and a motor from a Tesla Model S P85, and e.c.d. worked out a means of building on e.c.c.'s learnings and productionizing these powertrains for installation in the vintage Series Rovers and Defenders that are at stock in trade. A loyal e.c.d. customer saw promotional footage of the E-Lander prototype, an electrified Defender 90, and inquired about having his own 1995 Range Rover Classic electrified. And thus was born e.c.d.'s first production electric Range Rover. Production is a relative term, but e.c.d.'s fully custom builds do indeed move through roughly 20 different assembly stations, spending about 5 days in each for a total investment of around 2,200 hours of labor. With 17 new builds typically in process at any given time, e.c.d. now cranks out about 100 vehicles per year. With some 2 million Land Rover Series and Defender models produced over 67 years, there's a thriving cottage industry producing replacements for nearly every part. Range Rover bits, however, are quite tricky to find, which extends the overall build time and often requires additive manufacture via 3D printing. Teslafying a vintage Rover is done in such a way as to preserve as much of the original structure and driving dynamics as possible. So the Tesla motor and direct drive unit are turned 90 degrees and mounted about where the old transfer case went. So instead of powering the left and right rear wheels of a Model S, the Tesla bits power the two offset drive shafts that spin the original live axles with a straight-up 50-50 torque split and no low range. To withstand the Tesla motor's 450 horsepower and 325 pounds-to-foot of torque, the SUV's original axles are upgraded with GBR Utah limited slip differentials, Ashcroft half shafts, and reinforced drive shafts from Tom Woods/Quadratec. Tesla battery modules are repackaged in two boxes, a big one that goes in the engine compartment and a smaller one that mounts inside the cargo area. The battery cooling system rides beneath the rear of the chassis. Together, these battery modules amount to 110 kilowatt-hours of capacity. Charging is via a standard CCS Level 2 charging plug located behind the fuel filler door. Sorry, there's no Tesla supercharging or DC fast charging. If you fully deplete the battery, prepare to plug in for a while. This is not a cross-country road trip mobile. This drivetrain swap adds about 1,400 pounds, 6,400 total, much of it in the rear. So to bolster the GVW rating and achieve the proper ride height and body attitude, e.c.d. puts the old Range Rover on air springs. Other chassis modifications include a switch to rear brake calipers that incorporate an electric parking brake, a major upgrade over the rear driveshaft mounted drum brake, and, to clear the front battery box, replacing the original hydraulic steering unit with one from a P38 Range Rover, 1994 to 2001, that's powered by an electric pump. What's the e.c.d. electric Range Rover like to drive? Starting it up is a two-step process, as there are two entirely separate electrical systems. The traditional ignition switch unlocks the steering column and brings all the carryover 12-volt electric features to life, but the drive system is controlled by 4 buttons on the center console control. The switch marked with a lightning bolt activates the system. Then put your foot on the brake, press the button marked P to disengage park, and press the FWD or rev button. A ring around the chosen button lights up in red to indicate it's engaged. Anyone hoping, or fearing, that e.c.d. is turning vintage British SUVs into cooler-looking Tesla Model X's will be disappointed, or relieved, to learn this is no such thing. The reinforced all-wheel drive system and legacy suspension geometry permit some driveline lash, so the initial step off from a stop in either direction is not as seamlessly smooth as in a bespoke EV.
Thanks for watching. Drop a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to watch more videos like this.